Direct variation is a special kind of linear equation that can be written as y equals kx. So y equal sign, number times x. The equation may not start off like that. We may have to move the x stuff to the other side, but that's all that can be there when we're done. There cannot be a plus or a minus sign. There cannot be an extra number dangling on. It must be y equals some number times x. So, also the constant of variation is k from the above equation. K is not allowed to be 0. So you must have y, you must have x, and you've got to have a number times x. Step 1, first set of examples. Tell if each equation represents direct variation, and if it does, state the constant. Okay, y equals 4x. Y equals kx. That is a direct variation equation. And the constant of variation k is 4. Listen to it again. Y equals 4x, y equals kx. All that happened is I swapped out k for 4. This next equation isn't direct variation yet, but it could be. We need the equation to say y equals. So we have to get y by itself. That's going to involve doing 2 pieces of manipulation. We must add 3x to both sides. That's going to get us 5y equals 3x. We don't need the 0 at this point because plus 0 does nothing. Y is not yet by itself, so we will divide both sides by 5, and that gets us y equals 3/5 x. Yes, you could say 3x fifths, put the x in the numerator, but it's good habit to get into separating the x and putting it beside the fraction form of the number. It will save you a lot of headache in the future. So now is this direct variation? Is this y equals kx? Y equals 3/5 x? Yes. There's no rule that says k can't be a fraction. K just cannot be 0. K is allowed to be a fraction. This is y equals a number times x. That number is 3/5. Last equation example here. 2x plus y equals 10. We need y by itself to be able to know what's going on here. So I'm going to subtract 2x from each side. And I'm actually going to slide that minus 2x in front of the 10. If we got to slope-intercept form last year in pre-algebra, then you'll know why. And if we didn't, you'll find out why in the next lesson. That 10 is positive. So we've got y equals negative 2x plus 10. Is this direct variation? No. There's a plus sign. So absolutely not. For the next part, state if each relationship is direct variation. I want to come back real fast before I scroll my screen down to the equation up here, y equals kx. And point out, if you divided both sides of this by x, you would get y divided by x equals k. Okay. K is a constant, meaning in any direct variation situation, it does not change. Which means if I do y divided by x, I have to get the same thing all the time. If I take any ordered pair I'm given for an equation, if I do y divided by x, I have to get the exact same value every time. If I do, I'm direct variation. If I don't, I'm not. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to check y over x and see if it stays the same. So, first table. My first y over x is 6 over 1. That is 6. My second y over x is 18 over 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. My third thing, ordered pair, is 530, so y over x is going to be 30 divided by 5, and that is 6. K is constant, it's always 6. So is this direct variation? Yes. Next table. I'm going to start with negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. My next ordered pair is 0, 4, or 4, 0, so it's 0 over 4. That's 0. I can stop right now. Negative 1 and 0 aren't the same thing, so it's not a constant change. It's not a constant variation. It's not direct variation. Last example, the value of y varies directly with x, and y equals 6 when x equals 12. Find y when x is 27. Okay, so this relies on the fact that this equation exists, y equals kx. And the beginning of this, the value of y varies directly with x, is just telling us this equation is true. We know that y is 6 when x is 12. Well, okay, if I know that, then I can divide both sides by 12 and find out that 1/2 is k. K has to be 1/2. So y is 1/2 of x. I'm asked to find y when x is 27. Now that's fine. I'm going to find half of 27. That is 27 halves, or 13.5, or 13.5, however you would like to represent it. Okay. The idea for these kind of problems is they're going to give you an x and a y that are related. Use those to find your k. Do y divided by x to find your k. Once you know your k, just multiply it with the other x value to find your missing y value.